So, in the realm of film, there is a genre known as the action genre. And in the action genre, there are many subgenres. There are revenge films, there are thrill-seeker films, there are terrorist takeover films, and there are the buddy cop movies. And in my opinion, no other buddy cop movie has been able to reach the quality or entertainment of the Lethal Weapon series. Spanning over the years of 1987 to 1998 and over the course of 4 movies, Lethal Weapon, in my opinion, is the best buddy cop series. You know, these movies are honestly so good that I actually went ahead and bought all 4 of them on DVD. Now, as to why these movies are good, it's for one reason only: the chemistry between Martin Riggs and Roger Murtaugh. And I'm not kidding. Mel Gibson as Martin Riggs and Danny Glover as Roger Murtaugh makes for some of the funniest dialogue you will ever see in a motion picture, as well as some of the most heart-touching moments you will ever see in a movie. Anyways, that's enough about them. Let's now talk about the first Lethal Weapon film that came out in 1987. Directed by Richard Donner, the first Lethal Weapon film was released on March 6 of 1987 and follows suicidal cop Martin Riggs, who is assigned a task with his new partner, Roger Murtaugh, who immediately begin to clash heads. But as the movie goes on, the pair slowly begins to uncover a drug trafficking ring, which then results in Murtaugh's oldest daughter being kidnapped. Now, whatever field that this movie may have lacked in, they surely made up with the villains. Mr. Joshua is the main villain of this movie and is played by Gary Busey. He is as psychotic as he is brutal, like in this picture of him torturing Martin Riggs later in the movie. But unfortunately with his character, with how psychotic he is, he gets very silly and actually at some point starts hamming it up. And that's about my only problem with this movie, is that sometimes it gets really silly and it doesn't clash well with the serious tone of the rest of the movie. Though, aside from that, this movie is great all around. It's got great characters, it's got a great villain, and it's got a great story. I'm going to give the first Lethal Weapon film a 9 out of 10. And while with any good movie, there has to be a sequel. Released on July 7th of 1989, Lethal Weapon 2 was directed by Richard Donner and stars Mel Gibson and Danny Glover back as Martin Riggs and Roger Murtaugh. Lethal Weapon 2 is about the pair who have been assigned to witness protection, only to find out that this man just knows about some South African smugglers who have broken into the United States, and it's up to these two to take them down, even though it's extremely hard to because they are protected by diplomatic immunity. Now you've heard what it's about, and you know what? I'm not gonna lie, this is probably my favorite Lethal Weapon movie. The reason why this is my favorite movie is, well, first of all, the characters. Leo Getz, the character who is on screen, is one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character, who was introduced in this movie. He is funny and quirky. And speaking about good characters, we have the villain, Arjun Rudd. He is powerful. He can look at you, and you will swear to God you're looking into the eyes of death. He is that powerful and that intimidating when you look at him. Now, while we're on the topic of introducing characters, I failed to mention that in the first movie, the reason why Martin Riggs was suicidal was because of the fact he had just lost his wife. And well, in the sequel, Lethal Weapon 2, he is given a love interest. And you know what? I gotta say, his new love interest isn't half bad. Oh my God! Okay, all jokes aside, her character is actually a pretty good one. She starts off on the villain's side, Arjun Rudd, and well, eventually is wooed over by Martin Riggs with his charm and likable personality. And well, one could only hope that this means something well for Martin Riggs, and maybe she might become the love interest, or maybe she might become his girlfriend or wife for the rest of the movies. But unfortunately, she is killed off towards the end of the movie. Just because she died, does that make her a bad character? Absolutely not. I do not agree with that at all. I believe that she is a strong character. Though she's probably the weakest out of all the characters that were introduced in this movie, I say that she is a good character nonetheless. And the last thing I want to bring up, so that way we can end this review off on a high note, is the comedy. Now, the comedy in this movie is absolutely hilarious. Like in this scene, where Murtaugh is trying to take a deuce, and well, there's a bomb strapped to the toilet, and it's a pressure plate bomb. So, simply because of the fact he sat in it, the bomb's about to go off. When Martin Riggs arrives over at his house, He finds Murtaugh just sitting there on the toilet, to which Murtaugh says, "I've been sitting here for over 9 hours. And after all that, we got the quirky jokes from Leo Getz and his famous "they will always F you over" speech. And then finally, we have the chemistry between Martin Riggs and Roger Murtaugh, which drives this movie home. Well, that being said, I'm going to give Lethal Weapon 2 a 10 out of 10. Once again, thank you for watching my videos. As you know, my name is Brendan Bromley, and tomorrow we are going to be looking at the next two Lethal Weapon movies, 3 and 4. And just let me tell you, it's been great so far filming these videos, and, well, hope all of you have a good night.